Brothers and sisters, I've come to realize that millions of black South Africans are uninformed of Tsietsi Mashinini's true fate following the 1976 Soweto uprising. After leading the uprising, Mashinini was branded a fugitive by the apartheid government and instantly became the most wanted person in the country. The intense scrutiny compelled him to flee the country. He evaded South African security police by going into hiding and using clever disguises before eventually leaving the country for Botswana in August 1976. He lived there for a few months before he proceeded to the west coast of Africa. Heads of states, particularly Sekou Toure of Ivory Coast, and other African parliamentarians welcomed him. Mashinini resided in countries like Nigeria, where he was briefly hosted in the presidential guest house in Lagos. He also lived in Liberia and Guinea, remaining active in the Black consciousness movement. Mashinini traveled extensively, later visited the UK and the US, where he addressed the United Nations on the brutalities of the apartheid regime. He finally settled in Liberia, where he married Welma Campbell, the former Miss Liberia and daughter of a parliamentarian in 1978. The marriage was blessed with 2 daughters, Nomkita and Tembi. However, the marriage ended after a few years. Mashinini's final years were spent in Conakry, Guinea, where he resided with exiled South African musician Miriam Makeba, and where he tragically and mysteriously died in July 1990 at the age of 32. He was hospitalized for multiple injuries, apparently the result of an attack. He died a few days later. His body was repatriated to South Africa on 4 August 1990, and he was laid to rest at the Eblon Cemetery in Soweto under a tombstone reading Black Power. His exact cause of death remains disputed. While official documents provided by the government of Guinea at the time of his death attributed it to natural causes, his mother, Mamokete, testified at the TRC that his body was terribly disfigured. His left eye had fallen out into his coffin. His left ear was bleeding, and he had deep bruises on his face, including a large scar on his forehead, suggesting he was brutally beaten to death. To this day, the conflicting reports over his death, ranging from natural causes to alleged homicide, have never been conclusively resolved, with lingering controversies regarding who was responsible. In 2011, the South African government posthumously awarded Mashinini the Order of Luthuli in gold. Other things people don't know about him are: at Morris Isaacson High School, Mashinini was an avid reader, which was noticed by his history and English teacher, Abraham Onkgobotse-Tiro, who had been expelled from the University of the North for political activities. Tiro had a significant influence on Mashinini's political views and later adoption of Black consciousness, ideology, and philosophy. He coached Mashinini and provided him with reading materials. Mashinini began reading about the history of African struggles, American enslavement, human rights movements in the United States, and the evils of apartheid, thanks to Tiro. Mashinini was the chairperson of the debating team in his school, and his excellent academic performance became the basis for his influence among his peers. Mashinini joined the South African Students' Movement, a student body established to assist students with the transition from matric to university. Mashinini was an elected president of the Soweto Student Representative Council and the chairman of the Action Committee responsible for organizing the student mass demonstration on June 16, 1976. While in exile, Mashinini was interviewed by many media organizations and addressed students at universities, revealing the realities of the South African political situation. By many accounts, Mashinini never joined any of the established liberation movements in exile. He will always be remembered as a fearless fighter and student leader whose name will forever be engraved in memory as one of the greatest and passionate leaders this country has ever produced.